Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome to the episode 1 of Blue 82 Podcast. I am Craig, and I'm here with my co-host, Nick.
Yes, sir.
And we are here and we are vibing. We'll give y'all a quick little rundown of what we're going to be talking about on the Blue 82 Podcast, but it's generally going to be just a casual conversation between two dudes that like talking about football. Nothing special, really. We are special, but we're gonna be just talking about pretty much just most of our episodes are gonna be just recaps of the weeks of things that happen, wins, losses, big things, big news, some fantasy stuff here and there. First few episodes are gonna be kind of like special editions. We're gonna be talking about rankings, quarterback rankings, things like that, winners, losers, off seasons. Any big news trades that happen. Other than that, let's get into episode 1. You got anything to say, Nick?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, for episode one is just gonna be winners and losers of the off season, and then our dark horse picks. I'm not sure. Was episode 2 gonna be our quarterback rankings?
I think
We can do quarterback rankings or team rankings.
yeah, episode 2 and 3 is going to be team rankings or quarterback rankings. We just haven't decided which one.
And then like you said, our basically like our after like basically the off season, like the season starts and off season's over, we're just gonna do, like you said, the recaps, and then we're also gonna do like predictions and things like that. And then, like you said, a little bit about fantasy. But yeah, I'm ready to start this one though.
Pretty much the Swiss Army knife of podcast. You know, we do it all.
That's true.
All right. All right, you want to start with
Cornerback,
the
safety, linebacker. When you want to play?
oh, goodness. All right, so I guess we start with the winners of this off season.
Yeah, I mean.
I guess I'll go ahead and start. Yeah. All right. So my winners are the whole. Well, I wouldn't say the whole, but the AFC West. Not the Chiefs. We're not including the Chiefs here. They kind of took an L. But yeah, the whole division. No, truthfully, bro, you got to look at it. The Chargers made a trade with the Bears, got Khalil Mack. Didn't give up a whole lot for him either, in my opinion. And then they also signed a couple free agents. A notable one would definitely be J.C. Jackson. Yeah, I got it. J.C. Jackson, they got a 5-year, $82 million deal. Pretty solid deal.
That's a bag.
That is a bag, my dude.
Bro, what is it? 82 and a half?
82 and a half mil for 5 years, yeah. After the season he had last year, if he can carry that over, the Chargers defense is going to be nice with Khalil Mack and
that's like
Joey
16.4
Bosa.
mil.
Yeah, that's definitely a bag. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack on the line, J.C. Jackson with what's his name? I literally just had it on my tongue. Derwin James, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the safety, yeah.
Yeah. Derwin James, J.C. Jackson in the back end.
Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack.
Got Kyle Van Noy as well for a 1-year, $2 million deal. Pretty solid. I definitely think their defense needed a lot of help, and they're definitely on the come up in that position. But Chargers definitely look pretty nice. They were good last year. They re-signed Mike Williams, correct? I believe, yeah. Re-signed Mike Williams. So their offense is going to be generally the same. And then if we go and look at the Raiders.
Well, I gotta say one thing about the.
Go ahead.
So, the Chargers last year, for offense-wise, I don't know about you, but for me, like, the only stat that matters for, like, defense and offense is points per game, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know about you, but that's my kind of thinking. Like, I don't really care how many yards you get if you don't score, right?
Yeah, you got to
score. So last year, since, like you were saying, like, basically their defense, so I'll look at it later. So their defense last year, points per game wise, they were, I just lost it. They were third last. What is that? 32, 31. So they
29.
were 30th last year. Or yeah, 21, sorry. Or no, 30. 32, 31. Yeah, 30. So they were 30th in the league. They were giving up on average 27 points a game.
Yeah.
but their defense definitely needed a lot of help. Like you said, their offense is pretty much the same, and I believe they were fourth. So one,
Yeah.
two, three.
So
They were fifth. They were fifth in the league last year, and they were averaging 27.9 points per game. So it's like if they can improve that defense, which it looks like they did on paper, then there's no doubt in my mind that they'll easily make the playoffs. Because what, they missed it last year by one game,
yeah,
losing to the
they
Raiders.
missed it last year by what, 3 points? Truthfully,
Yeah, they could have tied, made
they
it,
could have
but
tied, but
I definitely
they
think
trolled.
that they won't need that tie this year. They'll
No.
definitely be able to get in the playoffs.
I think even if they can get the defense to the middle of the pack, the way their offense
That's what I'm
scores
saying.
and
Like you don't
puts
even
up
have
points, like they're
to
chilling.
make it like top 5.
They don't
Like,
have
you
to
can
be a
make it like top
Steelers
15.
defense.
Like they were literally the worst. Like what was it? The third worst team I said.
Yeah, they were bad.
So it's like if you can just bring it up to like 20th even, then I guarantee you'll make the playoffs.
100%.
Yeah. All right, you can go ahead with the Raiders here though.
Quick little rundown of the Raiders, and generally the only reason I picked these 3 teams is just because if you look at all of them, they all signed one person onto their D-line, which if you look at the quarterbacks in this same division, you're going to need 2 studs on the D-line to even keep up with what's going on in the quarterback position. So that's kind of why I picked all these winners, because it makes the most sense. I mean, Chargers got Khalil Mack with Joey Bosa. Raiders signed Chandler Jones to a 3-year, $51 million deal. And they got Max Crosby already on the D-line, which we saw what he did last year. So I think those 2 together on the Raiders, big deal. Who else did they sign? They got Anthony Everett, cornerback. They needed some cornerback help for sure. They signed a couple little pieces here and there on the defense. Not a whole lot going to make a difference, but Chandler Jones is really the big one that I'm keying in on. And then we also can't forget about just the beast of a
Like
trade.
the holy
grail, Devontae Adams, reunited with Derek Carr. Truthfully excited to see what happens. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Devontae Adams, but I do recognize what he does and I know what he can do. So I just can't wait to see what happens. You know what I mean? I think I just didn't like him because Packers are just boring to me altogether. Like watching them play is boring. Something about them is just boring to me. So when there's a player on their team, I just don't get hype over because it's just the Packers. It's boring. So I never really got excited over Devontae Adams, but I'm excited to see what happens with him in Vegas. But that's definitely another big W. That's one of my winners. They got a new coach as well. Derek Carr hopefully should have a stable year this year. We all know what the Raiders went through last year. So I think if he can have just a stable year, a coach the whole year, offense in place, a good number 1 wide receiver, I think Derek Carr could do really well. The only downfall is the AFC West is just doing crazy things, so can't wait to see what happens. But that's really what I got for the winners for Vegas. You got anything on that, Nick?
I mean, I was just gonna say this is my dark horse pick team, so I'm pretty much like everything you said is what I said. I just find it crazy that Devontae Adams is arguably the best player at his position, and it only cost a first and a second round pick to get him.
Yeah, that's another one like the
obviously
Khalil
he's
Mack
a little bit
trade.
older, but Tyreek Hill, for example, cost I think what was it 5 picks? To get him?
Yeah. The Raiders definitely snuck
that's
this
just
one.
insane to me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, you basically said everything I was gonna say, but the big thing to me is in my notes I had was the Raiders defense ranked 26 in opponent points per game, and they gave up on average 25.8 points. But like I said, the big thing was they tried to sign a bunch of players to try and fix that. And then it's gonna be interesting because Josh McDaniels, the new head coach, he's gonna have a lot of fun with this team. I feel like you got Derek Carr, Darren Waller, and then you got Devontae Adams.
And Hunter Renfrow.
Well
let's not forget Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow too. And then what's their running back?
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
So it's
and then they also got Kenyon Drake as well too.
Yeah, as a backup. So it's that's a good team. I feel like, and they should be able to hopefully improve a lot.
I mean, we saw what they did last year with that whole mess around the Raiders, and how they still made the playoffs. In my mind, is crazy. So the team's got the grit, they got the heart. Now they got the pieces. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. They went 10-7 last year, made the wild card.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can only go up from here if your defense hopefully gets better. Again, like another team that was bottom pretty much in the category of points per game, defensive wise.
Absolutely. All right, so my next one, which another big one. I will say it was crazy because I was sitting here watching free agency and shit on ESPN and
Just look at all the picks they took.
oh, I know, it's actually crazy. But I remember within like I swear it was like a 3-day span of all these signings happening, and it was only to the AFC West. Like I kept looking and it was like, oh, well, they're going to the Chargers. Oh, he's going to the Raiders. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like the AFC was like, yeah, the AFC West.
He's leaving the Chiefs.
Yeah, the AFC West was like, hey, let's just do all our business this week, and then we don't have to do anything for the rest of the offseason. But it was just funny. So my next winner is definitely, which is my last one, definitely the Broncos. They got Russell Wilson. They gave up quite a bit for it, but I think it's a pretty fair trade. I think they
premium price to trade for a quarterback. Man.
Yeah, I mean that's what you got to do nowadays.
I mean, right here it cost a first, two seconds, and
2 seconds,
and then a fifth, and then 2 players. Noah Fame, which is a pretty decent tight end, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know about Drew Lock, but
Drew Lock's a backup.
They got definitely the draft capital to like replace him.
No, 100%. So that was the big thing that the Broncos needed. I mean, the Broncos have always kind of had a defense that hangs around and keeps them in games, but just never had that over the top factor on the offense to get them to the other side. You know what I mean? Score points. So I definitely think this Russell Wilson trade is a big deal.
Talking about the Broncos defense, they were third in points per game at 18.9.
Yeah, see, and it's just crazy.
That's a great defense.
It seems like every year
their offense probably wasn't even that good.
Yeah, it just seems like every single year that their defense is just keeping them in games, and they can't like close out. You know what I mean? So I think with that being said, I'm definitely excited to see that.
Yeah, their offense, I'm not going to count it all, but they're around like 20th, I believe.
Yeah, so...
And they're averaging, I think, 19 points.
Again, with a top-tier defense like that, all you got to do is get
I'm saying,
get 12th, 15th, something, go up a little bit.
With Russell Wilson, that offense should be able to get way up there.
Oh, absolutely. There's no reason it shouldn't be a top 10 offense, you wouldn't think. Because they got pieces at wide receiver, they got 2 good running backs. They got a pretty decent O-line, so I would think they would be perfectly fine.
What you're saying too, though, about the defense, kind of reminds me of like how we were talking to fantasy. I remember we always talked to like taking a defense, and I think the Steelers defense.
Yeah.
And we're always talking about like how the Steelers defense always seems to be consistently decent.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what the Broncos kind of remind me of.
Oh no, absolutely.
It seems they're always just having that defense that just plays good.
Yeah, it seems like every year their defense is keeping them in games. Like I've literally watched them play the Chargers before, or any top tier defense or offense. I'm sorry, and it literally just seems like every time the defense is keeping them to 15 points, 18 points, and it's like if their offense could just score a couple touchdowns, they're chilling. You know what I mean? Just a couple. Another big signing they had was Randy Gregory. Back to what I was saying, a lot of these teams in the AFC West beefed up their D-line, which is what you got to when you're dealing with Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. So they got Randy Gregory, 5 years, $70 million contract. Beefy contract, but when he's healthy, he's pretty solid on the D-line. So they also re-signed Kareem Jackson, which he's a good safety. Ever since he switched to safety, he's been really well. I'm a fan of him ever since he came from Houston, but we won't talk about Houston
Billy Turner
much.
right there as the guard is kind of an underrated signing too.
Which one?
Scroll down just like a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. Right there, Billy Turner.
Oh, Billy Turner? I'm not gonna lie to you.
Former Dolphins draft pick.
No idea who that is, but carry on.
It's a former Dolphins draft pick. He played for the. He's a former. The reason why I recognize his name is because he was a Dolphins draft pick, but kind of played really well. He played pretty bad, and then he went to the Packers, and he's pretty decent as a Packers guard. I just feel like that's probably a solid signing because their O-line again is probably one of the worst one. Like not one of the, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure of the rankings, but I know it's pretty bad. So
Yeah,
it's like if he can help kind of come in and be a decent starter, then it's like again that helps out Melvin Gordon and
Javante Williams.
uh yeah Javonte Williams. So it's like they should be able to run the ball. Their wide receivers are pretty good. I think one of them got hurt. Patrick, wasn't it?
Their
I
wide
forget what his name is.
receivers.
Yeah, Patrick something.
Uh, Judy was hurt for a bit. Cortland Sutton got hurt for a bit. You're
I
talking
think
about last
Patrick
year or right now?
right now. Patrick's out. I think they lost him. I think to
Yeah,
injury.
yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. My name. What's his
I
name,
got
man?
Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick. Yeah, yeah,
He's out for the year,
yeah.
I believe. But like you said, Judy and
Cortland.
Cortland Sutton, like I don't
Yeah.
know, like that should be a really good offense in my opinion.
No, absolutely. And then
And the running back coming back, like they got both the running backs back,
yeah,
so
it should definitely be a solid offense. I wouldn't see why it's not. Just some notable names on the defense too, Nick. They got Randy Gregory they just signed. They got
yep,
Bradley Chubb, Pat
yep.
Surtain, Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons. Like that, those are some studs on the defense. So again, no reason their defense isn't going to be top three again, if not better. um, so that's definitely why they're another one of my winners. Just because the I think it's just so underrated to have two guys on the D line that are just that good. Like I don't see why other teams aren't doing that more, and we're starting to see that more and more with the quarterback play the way it is nowadays. But um, as far as that goes, those are my three winners.
Uh,
You
I
want to
think
do
they're
your
solid
winners
picks,
now?
honestly. Yeah, I can do mine. I think they're solid picks though. They all seemed like they knew what was wrong with their team and went out and fixed it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it definitely seems like they all just went in a defensive direction because that was what was wrong with their team.
They
Except for the Broncos. The Broncos went, I guess, the other way. They went on
went
offense.
offense, yeah, but did do defense as well. Not that they really needed it, but like I
Yeah, they
said,
definitely added to it, Randy Gregory.
yeah,
So,
we'll see how that works out this year.
all right. Kind of a biased opinion here, I guess
Here
you
we
could say,
go.
because I'm a
Hold on,
I'm a Dolphins
wait.
fan.
I already know where this is going. Let me pull it up. Miami. Here we go. Oh goodness, man. Can't take
Alright, you
this
ready?
serious. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so like I said, I guess it's a bias because I'm a Dolphins fan, but my pick for winners is the Dolphins. Even if I wasn't a Dolphins fan, I would probably still put them here, just because of what they really did. So they drafted Tua with the fifth pick in the 2020 draft. He's went through the blender, and you've known that. I
Yeah.
think everyone's known that. Like Brian Flores, for whatever reason, put him in games, took him out of games. When they first drafted him, I was just like ecstatic. I remember I freaked out. My dad was with me watching the draft,
Like a
and
little kid at
then
Christmas.
exactly, and then I was under the assumption that he hurt his hip, that he was just gonna sit out for that whole year, right? But they ended up putting him in because I think they realized like we're kind of in a playoff spot with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
He's not even playing great, so they tried to make the playoffs. I respect it, but it didn't make sense to me because it seemed like it really affected the team chemistry because a lot of players that have left Miami have said that they like expected Fitzpatrick to finish that year, but they didn't let him
Right.
kind of, you know. And then they had the constant flipping back and forth. Even last year, there was games where Tua said that he was fine, but Brian Flores didn't play him. Like the Ravens game, that was a primetime game. They said that he was hurt. Jacoby Brissett gets hurt in that game with his ankle,
And
whatever.
he
Tried to
comes
come
back.
back in, and then they said no, put him back on the bench, and they started Tua, even though he was quote unquote hurt. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me. Like he's hurt, but he's able to be on the bench as a backup and just in case. Like that doesn't make sense to me. So, well, aside from like all that, because they fired Brian Flores now, they moved on to Mike McDaniel, and I don't know if you ever seen like his videos, but I love the guy.
Get you hype?
He's not even like he's not even like a guy that gets you hype. Like he acts like a complete like stoner, but he just feels like he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he
Yeah,
comes from
yeah,
that
yeah.
Kyle Shanahan tree, and as you can tell, that tree's definitely had success lately
Oh, yeah.
with the Rams winning the Super Bowl. That was a sorry, not Josh McDaniels. That was a Kyle Shanahan from the tree. What's his name? Sean McVay. Sean McVay was
Sean
the
McVay, yeah.
guy. I believe the
The
Bengals was also
Bengals, yep. Zach Taylor,
Zach Taylor. Yes, I think Zach Taylor was at the time a quarterback coach with the Dolphins too.
yeah.
But anyway, so aside from the Brian Flores situation, the big problem for the Dolphins was O-line. Craig, they gave up 236 pressures last year. That
So
is the most
that's
in the league, and it's 40 more than the next team, which is the New York Jets at 196.
sounded like the Texans at one point.
That
Yikes.
it was worse than the Texans, I
Yeah, no,
think.
I agree. Definitely was.
So, in order to fix that O-line issue, they signed a left tackle from the Saints, Tyrion Armstead. They signed him for 5 years, 75 million. They signed left guard slash center because they're kind of playing at center right now. Connor
Hmm.
Williams from the Cowboys. That was 2 years, 14 million, and that's basically to help boost a 32nd ranked O line. It can't only go up from here, I guess, right? We're at
Yeah,
the bottom of the
absolutely.
barrel. Um, for their draft, they added a third round pick, Channing Tendell, to help their weak linebacking unit. I think their defense on paper is pretty solid. Last year they played good at times. Grant you, they did play like weak teams. Like I remember they absolutely smoked the Saints. I don't remember that game, but
I do.
I think that was Ian Book playing like a third string quarterback, and he was throwing picks,
I won my
getting
fantasy.
sacks like crazy.
I won my fantasy game that week because I played Miami's defense.
Yeah,
Oh, they got
yeah.
me so many
So
points.
Channing Tendell, he's a linebacker from Georgia. He looks very good. He's a very quick linebacker, so hopefully he can help contain Josh Allen, even though that's pretty much the hardest thing in the sport to do.
At the moment, yep.
Um, they also surrounded Tua playmakers. So they signed running backs Raheem Mostert from the 49ers, Chase Edmonds from the Cardinals, Sonny Michel from the Rams, and then they also completely just blew the bomb up in the wide receiver room and got rid of it. Pretty much everyone that was almost there before, except for Jalen Waddle, and just built around him basically. So they signed wide receiver Cedric Wilson from the Cowboys. That was 3 years, 22.05 mil. And then they traded 5 picks for Tyreek Hill, who signed a 4 year, $120 million extension. And then Craig, on top of that, they also drafted in the fourth round Eric Izanukinama. I think that's how you say his
Good
name.
luck. Carry on.
And then they tagged tight end Mike Gesicki. So this team has completely changed offense overnight, and I'm super excited for this season as a Dolphins fan. As a football fan, I think they're going to be really fun to watch. They've missed out the playoffs by one game 2 years in a row, so it's like there's no way with Tyreek Hill that you can miss this playoff, like miss the playoffs this year. You know what I mean?
You would think, yes.
You would think, but again, the AFC as a whole has improved, so it's going to be tough. But I think it's playoffs or bust for the Dolphins. If they don't make it, that's a disappointing season. I don't even care if you're 1 game, 2 games, like it's disappointment again.
I agree.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for my
I,
Miami team.
I think
My
I think the only thing I will have to say about Miami, and I think you agree with me on this. I will. Well, I'll say this before I say my one little take on it. I love hearing you talk about the Dolphins because it gets me excited for the Dolphins, and I'm not even a Dolphins fan. But they have made hella moves this offseason, so I'm excited to see what happens. Just as a football fan in general, you love seeing teams that aren't typically doing the best hit the come up and start doing good. Um, I will say my one take on the Dolphins and Tua specifically. The Dolphins have done absolutely everything this season to give Tua an opportunity.
if you tell me it's Tua or die, I'm gonna like punch you in the face.
I'm not necessarily saying it's Tua or die, right?
Because
But
I've already
I'm
it's so obvious at this point that it's like it's his last season basically. Like it's either put up or shut up.
yeah, no, essentially, like I could give him 2 seasons, right? I'm okay with giving him 2 seasons. This year, new coach, work out the kinks, new offense, new players. You figure it out. You figure out what schemes you want to run, whatever. I'll give him this year, at least. But let's say they keep him around next year, and between this year and next year, if they don't at least make the playoffs, and I will say this: if it looks like it's Tua's fault, like if they're putting 40 points up a game, keep Tua by all means. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if Tua's struggling and they're not making the playoffs, at some point you got to look and say, okay, Tua's not the guy because we've given him everything. He's got a tight end.
Yep.
He's got 2 solid wide receivers. We gave him some running backs. We helped the O line a little bit. They still need more help. We'll say that, yes, but
Oh yes.
he's healthier now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I think he has every reason to be a success. So that's really my only thing. He's just got to show up at the end of the day.
Uh, I was gonna say I've seen a lot of the training camp videos coming out from the Dolphins this season, and it's probably the best Tua's ever looked in his like not career, probably because he's probably been healthier when
Yeah,
he didn't have surgeries, but he's looked better than he has as a Dolphin, like probably this year than he has ever. He's making a lot of deep throws to Tyreek in camp. He even did it against the Bucks defense when they're joint practicing. So it seems like they're building that chemistry. Like you said, like they've really done everything they can to basically give him like talent.
yeah.
So
Which is what they
at
lacked on
this
the
point,
offensive side of the ball.
yeah, at this point, it's Tua's job to win it or lose it, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
There's really no more excuses unless somehow, some way, the offensive line is just brutal again. Like I don't see how it could be because they signed a good tackle and they signed a decent guard. I just I really hope that he can prove everyone wrong because there's a lot of doubters out there. His one training camp alone video, I'm sure you've seen it, the one where he underthrew Tyreek Hill that had like
Yeah,
4 million views.
but there was
Like,
also one where he threw a dot to him, right?
and that
So
had
it's like,
like 1
yeah,
million views.
yeah. No, you know how it is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he has
Everybody's
just
preying
like
on their downfall. Like
he just
anybody.
has he's probably one of the most hated quarterbacks, if not the
Yeah,
most hated quarterbacks,
he's
if
got
not
some
even the most
haters.
hated player in the NFL. But
I don't
moving
know
on,
about all
my
that.
I don't
Don't forget
I
about
don't
Watson,
know.
brother.
Oh, that is true. That is true. That is true.
I was about to say, man, come on.
That is
There's
true.
a lot of hate for
But
that guy right now.
my second team is another team in the AFC East, kind of like how you did yours with the AFC West. It is the New York Jets. So, grant you, I did pick this before Zach Wilson did get hurt, so it might be a little bit iffy now that he may be missing a couple weeks, maybe 1 week, maybe two
Right.
weeks. I don't know. Kind of depends like how he progresses. Right now, I think they were saying it was his meniscus. It wasn't his ACL. At first, people thought it was ACL, which would have been a year, but
Yeah.
sounds like he might miss maybe 4 weeks at most.
That's what I heard was like 2 to
So
4 weeks.
with that in mind, if he does play this season, I really think that this team isn't gonna go out there and win the Super Bowl this year, but they could go out there and win those games that you think like, oh, it's the Jets not gonna win those games. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
The games they
They
lost
may be able to
last year.
upset, yeah, like games that they can maybe upset people.
Yeah.
So as I said here, the Jets selected Zach Wilson second overall, and they basically went out this season and gotten him talent on both sides of the ball. They did lose their. I don't know if it was they lost one of their tackles. I don't know if it was a right tackle, left tackle, but that McKechnie Beckin, I think his name is something
Makai
like that.
Becton, yeah, he tore
Yeah,
his
so
ACL, I
he
think.
tore his ACL, so he's out for
Yeah.
the year. So they replaced him with left tackle Dwan Brown.
Dwayne
He
Brown.
played for the Texans, I believe,
Yeah.
right?
Trash. Man.
So they signed him to basically replace Beckin. They signed a 49ers guard, Laken Tomlinson, for 30 years, $40 million.
Yep.
They signed former Bengals tight end CJ Uzma for 3 years, 24 mil. They signed another tight end. I don't know why they're signing two tight ends, but
Yeah.
they signed another one for 3 years, 20.25 mil. So that's like $40 million between two tight ends.
Tyler Conklin, yeah. But they're solid tight ends. I mean, we've seen what they've
I'm
done
not no,
before.
I'm not hating or anything. It's just like it's just funny looking at it on paper.
I mean,
but
they're
they're
doing
giving
the
him talent,
Patriot.
though.
They're
They're giving
doing the
him talent,
Patriot strap, bro. Johnny Smith, Hunter Henry.
Well, hopefully they turn out better than that duo.
Yeah, right. Jesus.
And then you got to think too, their wide receivers that they already had was Elijah Mitchell,
Yep.
and then they also They also drafted Garrett Wilson this year. So
Yep.
they've definitely given him talent to play with. And on defense, like I said, they signed their big player was DJ Reed, a safety, at 3 years, 33 million. They signed Jake Martin, Keywan Alexander, Solomon Thomas,
Don't
and then
forget.
in the draft,
Don't forget Jordan
sorry,
Whitehead.
oh yeah, that's true. Jordan
Another
Whitehead, Marcel
safety.
Harris. You want me to name them all? I'll name them
I
all.
want to hear them all, brother. No, I'm playing.
And then in their draft, I really, 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 really liked how they drafted.
Such a good draft.
They got cornerback Ahmad Gardner at 4th overall. They got wide receiver Garrett Wilson at 10th overall. Then they drafted defensive end Jermaine Johnson at 26. That's 3 first-round picks right
Three.
there that I believe are all going to be really good. And then they also drafted Brees Hall, 36 overall, at running back, and that's in the second round. So that's 4 players that I believe are going to be starting at one point in the season.
I think they're starting off rip of the season, but carry on.
That's
Yeah.
If they're not starting now, they're going to
Yeah.
be starting at some
No,
point.
100%.
And then they fucking love tight ends, Craig. So they drafted a tight end, record at 101st.
Oh, goodness.
They just want to have tight ends running out there.
Tight
I
end on
respect
tight
it.
end on tight end, brother.
And then tackle Max Mitchell at 111th, and then they draft another defensive end at 117, Michael Kellnitz. And like I said, I don't think they're going to be competing for maybe the playoffs. I don't even know about that, but they're definitely going to win some games that they would have probably lost last year. They
Right.
went 4-13. I definitely could see them going up to maybe like 6 or 5 wins. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But
They're definitely
not
on the
winning
come
stuff.
up. And I mean, back to what I was saying about the Dolphins, like, I just genuinely love, like, and I guess it's just the underdog narrative at the end of the day. I love seeing teams that have been down horrendous for a while and eventually start to bring it back and make the right moves. I mean, their first round this year was just absolutely immaculate. Like, it was fun to watch, made the draft exciting. I mean, they picked 3 good guys as well. I mean, arguably the number 1 corner in the draft, number 1 or 2, 3 wide receiver in the draft. You know what I mean? Like, they've got some solid guys. Arguably the number 1 running back in the draft too. So I definitely think they are on the come up. I could almost, like you said, see them getting.
they also had
6 or 7
Michael Carter
wins.
too at
Yeah, and he
I don't know if
he's
it was
not
a second
no
round
slouch.
pick, maybe a 3rd, 4th. I don't know, something like that.
No,
But he
100%.
was their starter last year, and he wasn't bad either. So
With that little duo.
they definitely have the talent that they could upset a few. Like I said, they could upset some of these teams here and there.
And I think it's good too because they got Zach Wilson, second year. Still a young guy trying to figure it out. He's got some talent. Is it?
He had a rough last year.
Yeah. Is it Tom
Rough.
Brady talent? Probably not. But is it talented enough to win you some games? I think so. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what he can do with a better O-line, a better team. I just hope they draw up a good scheme for him. You know what I mean? For the offense.
I just hope he's healthy. That's my only hope. I'm a Dolphins fan, so it's like obviously like if the other teams get worse around in our division, that's a plus. But no one wants to see injuries. You know what I mean?
Nah, not at all. Never.
Especially when it's preseason like that. That's just
Yeah.
brutal. That he ended up getting hurt.
And I think at the end of the day, Nick, like, do we love our specific teams? Absolutely. Do we want to see those teams win? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we're fans of the game. We just want to see good competitive football all the way across the board with teams with all their best players. We don't want to see nobody getting injured. Like, we want to see good football. Like, at the end of the day, that's all we care about is good football. Or at least me personally.
Absolutely correct.
Absolutely correct. All right.
I watched, like I said, it was fun watching the Saints get absolutely smoked by the Dolphins, but
That was brutal to watch, man.
it was just like I'm watching Ian Book, and you could tell there was those moments where they cut to the crowd and it's his parents, and they want to show him when he's doing something proud,
Yeah.
and then they cut to his parents, and then they would cut back, and then he threw a pick, and I'm like, oh my god, don't
Yeah.
cut back to the
No,
parents.
don't go back. Please don't go back.
Just don't go back.
Oh,
Like this
goodness.
is just brutal to watch. I'm not sure if you want me to go back to back here and do losers or if you
Yeah,
want to do yours.
go ahead and run the
You want me to go ahead?
losers. Yeah.
All right. So as I said here, my first loser is Green Bay, and I said right here, Craig, there's no bigger loser this offseason than back-to-back reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think he signs an extension. I'm not sure how many years it is, maybe 3-4 years, something like that. But I really, really, really believe in the back of his mind he's probably regretting it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see how they're getting better. Grant you, they went 13-4 last year, but they lost so much talent, Craig. Not even on offense, but on defense as well.
They lost a
So-
lot.
They traded away 2-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler wide receiver Devontae Adams to the Raiders, which you've already discussed. Then on top of that, their other wide receiver, Marquise Valdes-Scantling. I'm not sure how to say that name. I'm
Marquise
stuck at
Valdez
Valdes.
Scantling.
Yes, thank you. I
got you, brother.
I don't pronounce names.
No, we know.
So he left to team up with Mahomes and KC.
Yep.
So as of right now, the wide receivers he has are Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Christian Watson that they drafted 34th
The rookie.
overall. And then they signed Sammy Watkins. And then they did re-sign their tight end, Robert Tonin Jr.
Tonyan, yep.
So it's just, how do you replace a guy that's probably the best at his position? It's gonna be so
How
hard.
do you replace a guy that's irreplaceable? Essentially, you know what I mean?
That,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just like I said, a talent, like a person that's as talented as Aaron Rodgers is, he should be able to make it work on paper, but it's gonna be so hard to replace, like to just replace that talent. It's just nearly impossible. So then, like I said, on the defensive side of the ball, they were able to re-sign Razel
oh,
Douglas, 3 years,
yep,
$21 million. But then they lost linebacker Zadarius Smith to the Minnesota Vikings, and then they did
tough.
draft they did draft linebacker Quay Walker, 22nd overall, and he's gonna have to pretty much fill the gap.
Yeah,
I believe that pick was from the trade with the Raiders, the 22nd pick, if I'm not
yes,
mistaken.
yeah,
So again, Walker's gonna have big shoes to fill. He has to come in and basically be their Zadarius Smith.
which is
They
tough
also
because that dude was
drafted,
killing it.
yeah, he was a really big signing for the Packers. I remember when they signed him, and then he was really good for them when he was there.
Yeah.
They also drafted defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt, 28th, and you good there?
Oh yeah, I'm trying my fault. I might kind of move a second. I itch my face.
So they drafted defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt, 28th overall, and that's to help improve their defense. Which again, it finished 14th in points allowed last year, but I don't know how he's gonna do it. But the back-to-back reigning MVP, he might be considering retirement again after this year, Craig.
Oh hell no.
I I honestly don't know if he wants to stick around with
We've
this team
seen
the
him
way
do
it's
more
going.
with less, but I think it's just gonna hurt his heart and just hurt everything with no Devontae Adams.
You have to remember too is that he's done more of less, but he's at the age now where he's like what, 37,
yeah,
38?
he's not
Like
necessarily the
at what point
25
do
year
you
old.
want to go, I want to go for the grind again? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a tough
No,
mindset
I
to have.
agree.
And if you don't want to like if you're already at the point where you're 38, it's like how many years can you waste?
I think his
Like
only
Craig,
hope at this
think
point
about it. The Packers have had back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They
and
went from Brett Favre
one Super
to
Bowl.
Aaron Rodgers, and they've won 2 Super Bowls. I think
Yeah,
they both won a Super Bowl
yeah,
each. That's it.
that's crazy. So
How
crazy.
disappointing does that have to be that you went for two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, arguably the best quarterbacks of their generation, and you've only won 2 Super Bowls?
At the end of the day, I just could not imagine being a Packers fan. Truthfully.
Oh, it is like it's pain. It's
Yeah.
pain. Like you know your team's good, but you just don't do anything. Like that sucks.
I think the only hope for Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day is hope that Christian Watson
Is an
is
absolute stud.
a half of what Devontae Adams was at least. You know what I mean? Like that's his only hope to rejuvenate what's going on here, and hope that his defense can keep him in games. Hope that Quay Walker can replace Zadarius Smith somewhat. At the end of the day, he's just got to hope that the replacements for the big pieces that were lost are good enough. And they're both rookies, so it's like, I don't know, man. It's a toss up.
Yeah, I mean, it's doable, but it's just highly unlikely. Like, you lost the best player out of position. It's going to be very hard to replace that.
No, I
But
agree.
moving on to the next loser I have is the New England Patriots. They know everything about losing the best player of all time. They lost Tom Brady. And they are still trying to figure that out, Craig.
They're in shambles.
Like, I don't know. This is pretty much like a legacy season for Bill Belichick. It's already known that Tom Brady can do what Tom Brady things without Bill. He went down to Tampa Bay one year. He won a Super Bowl, Craig.
Yeah.
What did Bill do? Barely made the playoffs. Oh, no, he missed the playoffs that year.
Yeah.
And then they barely made it this year. They went 10-7. Arguably, the Dolphins should have been the playoffs instead of them. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I don't know where they go, but they lost Tom Brady. They lost the GOAT. They're still trying to replace him. They also lost offensive coordinator that's been there for a long time, Josh McDaniels. So not only did you lose the guy who pretty much made your offense the year before, you then lost the guy that called the plays for the offense. So I don't know. And then they brought back a familiar face, Craig. Matt Patricia. You saw him with the
Oh,
Lions. He was
no.
great. I was a little bit, so when I researched him, I was a little bit concerned that he was a defensive play caller, being made an offensive coordinator. But I guess he did start as an offensive assistant, so he does have experience. But You
Not
saw what he
enough.
did as a head coach.
Not
I don't know if
enough.
he's not enough. I don't know if he's gonna come back and be the new Josh McDaniels, but this is gonna be probably the hardest season for Bill Belichick as a coach for the Patriots.
I could see that.
As I said here, as far as losses go, they traded away guard Shaq Mason for a fifth. They basically gave Tom Brady like a present for coming back for some reason. Because I don't know if you remember, but the Buccaneers lost their one guard Ali Murphy or something. He
Marpet,
retired.
yeah.
He retired, so they basically gave Tom Brady a gift, like, here, come back.
Come
Here's
back.
Shaq Mason.
Come back.
I don't know why they did that. They lost Chase Winovich. They traded him for linebacker Mac Wilson. They traded away quarterback Jarrett Stidham for a sixth. That was to the Raiders. And then they traded away wide receiver N'Keal Harry for a seventh. He was a first-round pick, mind you. I believe that was
For a seventh.
probably 2 years.
It's crazy.
2 years ago now? No, he
Yeah.
was the first, I believe. Some other notable names that they lost are Kyle Van Noy. He went to the Chargers. Joining him in the Chargers is K.C. Jackson. Running back Brandon Bolden went to Vegas. Ted Karras went to Cincinnati, the center. And then running back James White announced his retirement. He did sign an extension earlier in this season, earlier in this offseason, but now he's retiring. And then some notable linebackers that remain unsigned are Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins. And if you may not be as familiar with the Patriots, but since we play in the same division, Dante Hightower and Kyle Van Noy have basically been staples of the Patriots defense.
100%.
So it's like losing them, like you lost both of them now. Granted, you could sign them back cheaper, but as of right now, it's not looking very likely. And then in free agency, in order to replace what they've lost, they tried to sign cornerback Terrence Mitchell. They brought back Malcolm Butler. They signed safety Jarrell Peppers. They signed linebacker Juwan Bentley, defensive tackle Carl Davison, and then wide receiver Ty Montgomery. And then I think this was an undrafted player, Little Jordan Humphrey, wide receiver. And then they also signed right tackle Trenton Brown. And then, for whatever reason, I don't know what they saw or what they see in Devontae Parker, but they traded a third for him.
Questionable.
And to me, I personally don't see it because as a Dolphins fan, I've watched plenty of Devontae Parker. He had one really good season, I believe it was in 2019, the tanking year basically, where he put up, I think, 1,200 yards and like 7 TDs, something like that.
Yeah.
Craig, I'll tell you right now, he was not out running people, doing crazy Devontae Adams route running. Like, he was just jumping up, catching the ball, and that was it. So, if that's what you believe Mac Jones is going to become, then there you go. But
By all
he's not
means,
going
you
to
got
beat
it.
you.
Yeah.
And I find it hilarious because I've seen Patriot fans on Twitter hype him up. Like, oh, he's having a great training camp. Like, yeah, I'm sure he's having a great training against that terrible defense you have. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No,
I'm glad he's going out there and jumping over the corner that you have that may not even make the team.
They lost
like,
their number one corner. Yeah, so it's like, come on, dude. Ain't
Like,
nobody he's going against this good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I like Devontae Parker, but he just wasn't worth what we were paying him.
Nah.
Because I remember we always had this argument on Reddit, like in the Dolphins Reddit, was is he worth what he's paid? And it's like, yeah, he's paid cheap and he's good, talented player, but his route running is terrible. Like I said, he'll never outrun, like, just put the moves on someone and be wide open.
Yeah.
I think at one point, I think he is somewhere around like the worst receiver in like separation yards. I think it is something like that. Like, he basically doesn't get separation.
Yeah.
And then he was just always hurt. His hamstrings are just torn, I guess. I don't know. He always had hamstring
Permanently
problems.
torn.
They never healed. I don't get it.
And you sure as hell don't need him when you got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle now. So.
And Cedric Wilson. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then we drafted someone. So it's like he
Yeah.
was on the board of even making the roster, honestly. Like.
Yeah. Nah, I agree.
And I don't know. Like I said, he's a good player. He's talented, yes. But it's at the point now where I've seen him plenty of times that I know he's the player that he is. And I think you're at the point where it's like after 3 years, you know who a player is. They're not going to change after that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think Devontae Parker is going to magically have steel fucking hamstrings and be able to go out there every game for 16 games. You know what I mean? He's done it once. No, he didn't even do it. He's done it once, like his rookie season, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, the narrative is out there that he's injured. He's never gonna be there. He doesn't get separation. So if Mac Jones is gonna throw the ball up and throw it down the field like 30 yards and he goes up and gets it, go for it. But
He's probably gonna tear a hamstring on the
I'll
way
tell you
down.
right now, though, when he was here as the Dolphins, the stories were always that he was locked the fuck down by X. So bring it on. I'm ready. I don't even care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
We could go ahead and trade him in the division. I was like, I don't even care. Like, we got
not a
Tyreek Hill.
threat
I
at
don't
this
even care.
point.
He's not even on my radar anymore.
Yeah. Devontae
But-
Parker, who?
But to wrap it up, I just basically said here was the AFC as a whole got significantly a lot harder, and the teams in the division added an abundance of talents. Like I said, the Jets look stronger on paper. The Dolphins got Tyreek Hill.
The Bills.
I basically
the Bills.
said that. Yeah, the Bills were already the best team in the division. They got Von Miller. So, as I said right now, the Patriots could be in a tough battle for even third. I said it right there. I put third. Like, I don't even know if they're going to make
Shit,
third.
the way it's going, they might be last in the division.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be a tough battle against the Jets. I really think that Bill is in the hole right now.
Yeah.
He's looking up. He's not looking down anymore. He's
looking towards
up.
retirement at this point.
And like I said, the biggest thing this season is it's a legacy season for him. He's got no McDaniels now, no Tom Brady. It's all Bill. Is he really the goat of coaching, or is he a fake?
We're truly
Is
gonna
he
find out.
Fugazi?
Yeah.
Is he Fugazi? Is he fake? Is he even real? It's a Wazzy. It's a Woozy. It's from Wolf of Wall Street.
This guy. You are something else. You got any more losers?
That's it. I'm done. That's my two
Alright.
teams.
I hear you. You stole one of mine, which I already knew you were. Packers, quick hit. Definitely a big loser. I'm only going to throw out one loser here. There's definitely others out there, don't get me wrong. But one loser that sticks out in my mind, and it won't be a podcast with me without at least touching on my guy. You know? Was a big fan of him. Probably still a big fan of him. The off the
Well, are you
field
saying the
issues.
player or the team is a loser?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I was gonna say, where are you going with this?
I'm getting there. Watson, my guy. I'm a Texans fan. Was
Deshaun Watson to clarify.
Deshaun Watson. Currently, maybe in the midst of picking a new team. Texans are in shambles. But I genuinely think this year, when I'm just talking about this year, right? Biggest loser has got to be the Browns. You give up all these picks to get Watson.
Well, can you pull it up?
Pull up, yeah. I'll have to Google it.
No. On the you're on the Browns.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Let's go to the Browns right now. And then Cleveland right there, and then traded to trade.
So the Browns gave up 3 first-round picks, a third,
1, 2,
and 2 fourths.
2 fourths.
For Deshaun Watson. And again, I'm literally only talking about this year. Because let's say Watson, I know they said a 6-game suspension. I'm hearing he's trying to get an 8. I'm hearing leagues pushing for a whole year. I'm hearing so many different things, right?
But hey, Craig,
What?
you're forgetting something out of the trade.
What?
They got a 2024 6-round pick.
Oh, my fault. Let me not forget that. They got Watson and a 6th-round pick. Let's go, baby!
Not this year coming up.
2
next
years
year,
from
Craig.
Next year, yeah. Like, goodness
He's gonna be a stud in the
gracious.
sixth round.
He is that guy.
They're gonna find the next Tom Brady.
Yeah, no. But I think this year, if he's out for the whole year, which is looking likely at this point.
Wait, so sorry, you're saying the Browns are the loser? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were saying the player was the loser. Okay.
No.
I was down to go. You could go both ways, honestly. You could say he's the loser.
I mean,
the loser.
you could, yes, but the Browns are definitely the loser this year. I mean, they give up all this for him, and I think they knew it was a future decision. Next year, years after that, if he does get reinstated or whatever happens, yes, I think he's worth it. Personally, I'm a big fan of his play, not necessarily what he does off the field. I'm not getting into all that, but I do think the Browns lost in this situation this year. And then you trade away Baker Mayfield at the same time. You ruin the dynamic you had with Baker. Not that it was the greatest, but you ruin it. So now you have no quarterback. Your
Gotta
quarterback
say one
is
thing about Baker.
Jacoby Brissett. What?
I was gonna say, like, before Baker got there, the Browns were and are a laughing joke.
Yeah.
They have been for like the basically
Yeah.
decades now. Like, they've been terrible. And the fact that they drafted this man first overall, grant you, he didn't have a great year last year. He's been iffy as a
He
first
was
overall
injured
pick.
a
You
lot
can say
last
that.
year, though.
You can say he's been iffy as a first overall pick. Hasn't been that Joe Burrow type quarterback. Wasn't that Cam Newton winning MVPs when he was with the Panthers, but he took you to the playoffs.
Yeah.
For the first time in I don't know how many
And
years.
won you a game in the playoffs, right?
And gave you guys some hope. Gave the fans something to cheer for. And they basically did him like
they shit
so
on him.
dirty in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's just I think that to me probably speaks volumes to these players too, is that
Oh yeah.
they don't really care about you. You know what I mean?
They don't. Look, do I think it's a good trade? Did you make an upgrade? Absolutely.
Yeah, I can agree. He's a better quarterback, but it's just
I think the way they went, the way they went about it was just so backwards.
The opinion of the public now that it's like it wasn't really worth it.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
No, I agree. I that's why I think they're one of my losers. My losers aren't like that special in this sense. Just kind of touching on a couple things, couple teams that did something that not very good. You know what I mean? This Watson trade this year, like I said, it's probably going to work out 2-3 years from now. And I think that's why they did it, was for the future. But this year, I don't think it's going to pay dividends. So this is definitely one of my losers for this year. We'll see what happens with the whole suspension. If he does end up getting 6 games, then it worked out pretty well. But I think it's going to be a lot more.
I watched this video today, and the commissioner is basically saying that he is a serial predator.
Yeah.
There is no way this man is playing this game, this game of football.
Yeah.
This year, there's just no
I don't see
way.
It likely at all.
You're basically your boss's boss is saying you're a predator. There's just
not happening.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
So with that being said, that's one of my losers. Quick touch on my last loser. Not a whole lot to say about this. We've kind of already touched on it a bit, but I will say Kansas City. I know I'm literally living in the AFC West at this point. I don't know what it is. But the Kansas City Chiefs losing Tyreek Hill, and trying to replace him with Juju Smith-Schuster, and who'd you say, Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
Yep.
I just think it's kind of the same situation of
Sky Moore too.
Yeah, I mean they got Sky Moore. He might end up working out. We'll see how he is. Rookie, but we don't know what's gonna happen yet.
The guy from Clemson that I think he tore his ACL or something. Was undrafted. I was kind of having hope for him.
Oh,
too.
I do remember him. Yeah.
I forget what his name is, but I believe he tore his Achilles something. I don't remember. But he was an undrafted free agent.
Justin Ross, yeah.
Yes. Yes. I honestly was like really, because I remember I played, I love Madden, so I played the franchise mode. He was always available. I think it was in the second round, and I always drafted him. I think people were saying that he was a first round graded person, wide receiver. He was,
yeah.
But he had like back problems, I think they said.
Yep.
So, really feel bad for that guy because I honestly had hope for him that maybe he could have been something, but.
I mean, he still can. We'll see what happens.
It's just very tough being an undrafted player.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you get hurt or something like that. It's career defining.
Career threatening, career defining. Yeah. With that being said, though, the Chiefs have made moves to try to fill that void of Tyreek Hill, but again, like we were saying with the Devontae thing, you're trying to replace the irreplaceable. I mean, the guy's nickname is the Cheetah. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't forget this. They lost the zoo. They lost the cheetah and the honey badger.
Yeah. Granted, well, okay, see, and this is the thing. They did lose the honey badger. Another one of my guys. I love that guy. That guy is a beast. But they did replace him with another one of my guys. I'm a fan of him too. Old Justin Reed from Houston. So, I don't think he's Tyrann Mathieu ability. I think he's up there. but he's definitely not the honey badger. But they did replace him in that sense, so I think that they're not going to miss too much there. Especially Justin Reed in a new system. He was kind of getting a little disgruntled in Houston because we all know how the Houston organizations ran. It's not. Yeah, so God, I hate him so much. I just hate being a fan of him at the same time. It's so bad. Anyways, not to get started on the fucking Texans.
For a Walmart sharper, you should have moved on to the Broncos.
Yeah, right. Oh goodness. But I definitely think losing Tyreek Hill is gonna be noticed. Granted, they still got Mahomes, they got Kelsey, they got some wide receivers to replace him, but it's Tyreek Hill. Like, he's not the best. He's arguably the best for some people on their list, not mine.
I think he's definitely. You got to put him top 5. You
Top
can make
5,
the argument for top
absolutely.
3.
Yeah. No,
You can make the argument for top 3.
I'll give him top 5 for sure.
But he's definitely one of the best players at his position.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that.
I agree completely. But as far
And
as
for all the people that are Tua haters, he was doing it with fucking Alex Smith. So
valid, very valid.
if you're gonna sit there and say Mahomes made him, he was there doing it with Alex Smith, who's basically what people say Tua is, a game manager. So there you go.
That's very true.
I only speak facts, Craig. Carry on.
Carry on. I'll carry on. We won't get into that. Not on episode 1. But with that being said, that's my 2 losers. I know you already touched on it, Nick, earlier whenever I talked about them, and I don't know if you got any more, but any dark horses, sleepers, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, before we do the dark horse sleeper picks, was I agree that Kansas City definitely was a loser this offseason, but I think a lot of teams lost more.
No, I agree.
Like, I can see the point you're making, but I mean, if we're gonna talk about the Cowboys, like, they traded away their second. Arguably, it was at a time number 1, but now he's like probably like their second wide receiver for basically a bag of McDonald's chicken nuggets. Like, I think it was like a 6th-round pick if you want to double check.
Well, Nick,
I'm pretty sure.
Before you get into this, only reason I didn't bring them up is because that word does not come out of my mouth.
What?
That team name. I won't talk about them.
Oh yeah, it was a 6th-round pick.
Was it? No, I don't like. I hate the Cowboys.
Was,
I can't talk about them.
They got a 5th and a 6th. Sorry.
I can't give the Cowboys no shine.
I mean, you can shine when you're pooping on them. Like, I don't think that's really shining.
No, I hear you. They definitely lost more, and there were other teams that lost more. I just know that it's just. I think it's just.
Like I get the point you're making though.
Yeah, no. When any team loses a big player like that, I have to touch on it.
I think a lot of eyes now are going to be on the tight end there. What's his name?
Kelsey?
I can't think. Yeah, Travis Kelsey. I think a lot of people are going to be eyeing on him, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be harder for him to probably go off as much as he has. But we can get into the dark horses though. So the first one I had was the team we already talked about. It was the Las Vegas Raiders. They signed, like I said, Josh McDaniels, the head coaching job. And then, like you said, they wasted no time making a big splash. They went on and got Devontae Adams. Like I said, we talked about it. Their defense was terrible. They gave up 25.8 points per game. That was ranked 26 overall out of 32 teams. Not very good. They basically signed a bunch of players on the defensive side of the ball to try and fix it. They did go to they went 10-7. They were a wild card team. They did lose to the Bengals, who did go on to the Super Bowl. The Bengals did lose that, but they lost 19-26. Not really like a blowout or anything. It was a pretty close game. So, again, don't want to get too in-depth on that team because, again, you already talked about it. But Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Derek Carr should be a fun trio there. And I really think that if they can get a halfway decent defense, they can make a run to do some great things this season. I don't know if I would say they're a Super Bowl contender, but I definitely think they should be able to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're definitely and we touched on this before the podcast, but I think it's going to be tough just because how the AFC is wrapping up right now, or the AFC West, I'm sorry, and the AFC as a whole.
Yep.
But I do definitely see them as playoff contenders. Interesting to
No
see
doubt
what
in my mind, they're a
happens.
playoff contender. It's a tough conference, tough division.
Yep,
Like
100%.
you think about a lot of these divisions, like two teams are pretty much good. The other two teams are bad, or maybe one team's good, the other three are bad.
This
This
one's
is
all four.
four teams that could easily be playoff teams.
Yeah, 100%.
So again, with like we said, we talked about it earlier, and it could be a three team battle for a playoff spot. As one team wins the division, the other teams are battling. Like it's gonna be a tough year for them, but again, at the end of the day, someone's got to lose.
Someone does have to lose. It's the beauty of the game.
But my last team that I was going to talk about was the Minnesota Vikings. This was
Love that.
probably my favorite dark horse team.
Love that.
This was arguably, not even arguably for me. In my opinion, this was my favorite coaching spot that opened up. And my team had a coaching spot, so.
Yeah. This is a good spot to go, though. They got some pieces.
I really think Kevin O'Connell got probably the best job available.
Yeah.
You could argue, oh, you want to live in a city, Minnesota, blah, blah, blah.
Who cares
New York,
about that?
whatever.
You're coaching football.
At the end of the day, the thing that matters the most to me is being able to come in and win. Because any coach is going to get paid. You can come into a team, and guess what? You built your whole career to get to this spot, and then you go to a team like a dumpster fire, and then you lose, you get fired, everyone hates you, then you got to build that reputation all over again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So why waste that fucking time and go to a dog shit team when you can go to the fucking Minnesota Vikings, Greg? They have Justin Jefferson,
My boy.
Dalvin Cook. You can say all you want about Kirk Cousins. He's good enough to win games. He is good enough to win games.
Have you seen his stats, bro? Like his career stats?
They're probably not even bad. Are they bad?
No, they're not. And
It's
it's crazy.
On stream?
Yeah.
It's just crazy what the amount of people that just talk shit about him. Or...
Like I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of him by any means, but like if you look at his stats as a whole, and it's just crazy that he's not getting talked about as a top 10 quarterback.
He's had what? So when he joined the Vikings, we can just look at it just from the Vikings. He's had 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4K yards, 3.6K yards, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 4.2, 35 TDs, 13 interceptions. And then, what was it? Last year he had 4.2K yards, 33 touchdowns.
Look at these quarterback ratings, too. 103, 105, 107, 96, 99, like 106, 101 down here. Like, the guy is
pretty good.
Is competent. He's good. He's really good. You know what I mean? That's what you ask for as a quarterback.
He was 9th. I'm looking at ESPN right now. He was 9th in yards.
Yeah.
9th.
That's what you want.
He was above MVP Aaron Rodgers for yards.
Yeah. And you have a guy like Dalvin Cook, so your run game's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a believer in Mac Jones, Kyler Murray, and I mean those are pretty much the rest of the quarterbacks that I would name, he was better than those two last year. So it's like, if you can believe in those guys, then there's no reason why you can't believe in Kirk Cousins.
Nah, 100%.
But aside from Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook, they also have wide receiver Adam Thielen and tight end Irv Smith Jr. So
who was injured all of last year and is coming back healthy.
So last year this offense produced an average of 25 points per game, which ranked 14th overall. Not bad. You're in the top half of the league. But now that they signed the Rams' former OC, I really think that he can have a lot of fun with his team and potentially get them into that top 10 bracket.
And
that's
open
only
it
moving
up.
Sport thoughts, so that's not going to be a whole lot to move up. I think 4 spots, but I think it's doable with that team.
No, and I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, I'm a big fan of the Vikings, just because Justin Jefferson and just they're fun to watch. But
great colors, great logo.
Yeah, they just their offense needs to be opened up. Like I guess you want to call it the West Coast, the spread, the air the ball out, whatever. Like I think their offense just needs to be opened up. Like they get a little too passive and scared sometimes. Like they just.
I think that's Mike Zimmer though.
Yeah, no, it was 100%. And I'm so glad they got rid of him. Like
I can't believe he lasted that long.
I can't either, but I'm glad they made the move because they needed it. Because they have the talent, and for them to not make the playoffs is just crazy. And you touched on it earlier, but I mean the Packers. This is a good time for the Vikings to make a come up. Like the Packers are kind of in shambles. We don't know what's going to happen with them, so they're definitely a dark horse, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah, like I said, so their offense was averaging 25 points a game. Like I said, that was 14th. Their defense was giving up 25.1 points per game. So they're giving up zero point 0.1 more points than they were scoring every game. And that was ranked 24th overall. So like basically way down there again. So in order to fix that defense, they brought in, like I said, linebackers Darius Smith from the Packers. So that was a 3-year deal, $42 million. They brought in the defensive tackle Harrison Phillips for 3 years, $19.5 million. And then they brought in linebacker Jordan Hicks, 2 years, $10 million. So basically, just to wrap it up, they went 8-9 last year, and I really believe O'Connell probably thinks he got shot and went to heaven. Like he got blessed with like a great team. I think as long as he can figure out the defensive side of the ball, I would not count the Vikings out of a deep playoff run. Like I really would not.
I could see
that team. You have a good running game. You have good wide receivers. You have talent. As long as they can stay healthy, Kirk Cousins can play like he has been playing. There's no shot that this team doesn't make the playoffs this year. That defense just really needs to improve.
Yeah,
if you can go from 24th to like 15th,
they're chilling.
Then there's no way that you'd miss the playoffs.
And they also in the draft added Lewis Kine, safety, first round pick, 32nd overall, and Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback, which he was from
so they
Clemson,
really went
I believe.
after their defense.
So they definitely added on their defense in the draft. So I mean, those are two dudes that'll probably be starting year one.
I mean, you can see right there in the third round too, they added another linebacker.
Yeah, so they definitely made some
Osama.
strides
So
to make that defense.
They realized
better.
their weakness and they went and fixed it. So I'm really on board with the Vikings.
No,
if you wanted me to give you a dark horse Super Bowl team, I would say the Vikings.
I like it. I like it a lot.
But yeah, you go ahead. It's all you know.
I'll touch on one real quick that's not really like a dark horse. I guess it's more of a sleeper, excited team, almost winner.
No, you're pulling up Jaguars. Is it Jaguars?
No, it's not.
I was going to say, I hope not.
But the Lions. I'm excited for the Lions, man. I mean, they got... What they get?
Eat someone's kneecap.
This guy, no. I mean, they got Aiden Hutchinson, of course. They got Jameson Williams. Dan Campbell is exciting. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos, but that man will get me hyped to play football, and I ain't played football in God knows how long. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm just excited for them. They're not really like
legend Dan Campbell.
Yeah, they're not really like a dark horse. They're not really a sleeper, but they're on the come up. I think. I'm excited for them. But I guess one of my sleeper teams, and it's kind of / a little winner team, maybe in the offseason.
I will say that I like that
Jacksonville.
Jameson Williams draft pick there.
Yeah, no, that's a solid pick.
And Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna get Jameson Williams, but when they
bringing back Aiden Hutchinson to Detroit, like that's got to be big, man.
Oh yeah. I guess my dark horse probably would truthfully be the Raiders. But since you already touched on that, I'm just going to touch on a different team real quick that I think is kind of a winner dark horse scenario in a division that's not necessarily the greatest at the moment.
Jacksonville.
Hey, Jacksonville did some moves this season.
I don't buy it.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think I just want to see what Trevor Lawrence can do. I think
I'm just gonna say this real quick. I watched Trevor Lawrence play preseason. He does not wow me.
Really? Not.
He really.
Well, let me ask this: did he ever wow you in college?
That's the thing, though, is that when I'm watching him, though, and he's a first overall pick, he just looks slow. Like he's reading the defense slow, and it's like when you're a first overall pick,
you should
and
be
he's
ready
probably
for all that.
playing. He's playing like what? Probably not even first string defense. It's probably like second, maybe third. It's like. You should be a lot faster than that. And that's the same thing I saw with Zach Wilson. Was like he threw that pick. That's a brutal pick. I don't know if you saw the video, but it was a brutal interception. Like, he threw it right to the linebacker, and it's like, you're a second overall pick. You can't be making those mistakes.
Nah, not at all.
So, I don't, again, like, I'm not going to sit here and say the guy's going to be a complete bust, but he's definitely got to improve.
I don't know. It's only year 2. He did have a lot of controversy the first year with the whole fucking Urban Meyer deal. You know what I mean? A dude's kicking kickers.
Dude's at strip clubs. Like,
yeah, I can't really blame the guy.
I agree, but he just doesn't wow me so far. And
he's definitely got to make a step.
You got to remember, too, is that the big thing with him coming out of college was that he was a can't-miss pick.
Yeah, next Peyton Manning.
So,
you know what I mean?
That's the biggest thing, is he has to live up to that, and so far, in my opinion, he hasn't done it. So,
nah, I do agree with that. I think I'm just kind of excited because I just love when teams make a lot of moves, and they made quite a bit.
Show the contract they signed.
This one? This one was questionable. The 4-year, $72 million Christian Kirk? That was questionable.
That absolutely... For that signing alone, I will thank the Jaguars because that probably got us Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, no, it did, yeah.
And they probably got the Raiders... Devontae Adams, because that contract was I just want to say, questionable.
Maybe they saw something we didn't see. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Yeah, that was questionable. But I don't know, man. I guess my dark horse is the Raiders, and I know we've already touched on it. I really don't have another one. I just wanted to touch real quick on the Jags. I'm a little excited for. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence can do something, but that's really all I got to say about them. Just real quick, I have
Christian Kirk's stats pulled up.
Uh-oh.
So, if the Jaguars saw something in him, I'm not sure what they see in him. He was tied 24th with 77 receptions, 27th with 982 yards. Not bad. But he only had 5 TDs, which is tied for 40th. And his average yards was 12.8, which is 46.
Not good.
So, I don't know where you can go from there, but...
I take it back, Nick. I just realized my dark horse pick. The Philadelphia Eagles. My boy Jalen Hurts. Houston boy. Houston boy. No, that wasn't really like a pick. That was just like I'm winging it. I'm looking at somebody. My pick was the Raiders.
Yeah,
I've been saying the Raiders all the time.
You just want to talk about the Raiders for the third time?
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about the Raiders for the third time. I'm not going to bring them back up, even though we're talking about them now. But yeah, no, I literally lived on the Raiders this fucking podcast already. Nah, I do like the Eagles though. I do looking at the teams real quick. I do think the Eagles they made the playoffs last year.
Go for the draft. What did they do in the draft? Let's see the draft.
Draft. Yeah, they got Jordan Davis, Georgia. Nakobe Dean, Georgia.
I do like Nakobe Dean. He was arguably. I remember watching. They were talking about him being like one of the best linebackers in the draft.
Remember, they had like 3 first rounds going into this, but they made trades. They drafted 1 first round, and then
what trades did they make?
They got AJ Brown. Remember?
Oh yes.
Yeah, they got AJ Brown. Which I think with Devontae Smith could be pretty nice. They got a little dual threat there. Jalen Hurts just needs to step up his game one more step. Their running game was really good last year, yes. Jalen Hurts just needs to take one more step above. He did pretty well last year, and I'm excited that
they were actually the best running game last year. So.
Yeah. They gave him the opportunity last year. Yeah, they went crazy.
And they were the best yards per game. They had almost 60 yards. It was 159.7.
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, look at their division, bro. Like, I could almost easily see them winning the division. The Cowboys took a hit. Division. The Commanders are the Commanders. The Giants, don't even get me started on the Giants.
The Commanders already... You know what? Honestly, I should have said the Commanders are an L because of their name.
Yeah, no. That was
terrible name.
Yeah, that was
terrible name.
Oh, look, I see what you're talking about with the Reggie White, by the way. 1989?
Yeah,
Come on now.
I told you.
What is that? But they did sign Hassan Reddick. They re-signed Fletcher Cox. Re-signed Boston Scott. They signed Zach Pascal, Indianapolis, wide receiver, to a 1-year deal just for depth. He's not a bad little wide receiver.
My screen's a little blurry. I thought that said Jimmy Graham, but I think it's Jaden. Jaden
Jaden
Graham.
Graham. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
wow, what a
they
what a
got
throwback.
Derek Barnett as well. I think that might have been a re-sign.
James Bradbury, that's a big one right there
Yeah.
from the Giants corner.
Kazir White, pretty solid. So I mean, they've made some moves. They were already a playoff team. They're in a weaker division. They can definitely, and they're in the NFC, so they can definitely get back to the playoffs, in my opinion. How far they can go, it just depends on what Jalen Hurts is willing to do. I mean, he's a Houston boy.
I know you
I'm
like Jalen Hurts,
excited.
but he was awful in that playoff game. Awful.
The whole team was awful in that playoff game, yes. But Jalen Hurts was indeed bad, yes, I agree.
That was like one of the first times I've watched him play, and he was terrible.
No, I agree.
Like, I'm not trying to. Well, I guess I am shitting on him, but like,
no, you are, but no, it's
that was
warranted.
just like
You're not
it was
wrong.
just so bad. Like I
Yeah.
remember watching, and like you'd see the replay, and like you can see the guys wide open, and he would like
Yeah,
he would
it was
look
tough-
over there,
it
but he
was
just
tough
wanted
to
to throw it,
watch.
and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just make the throw. Trust yourself.
Yeah. I don't know if there was the pressure, what it was, but it was definitely tough to watch.
And I remember too, he used to run out of the pocket like before the pocket even like would be collapsing.
Yeah.
He'd already be sprinting out. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's
Not sure what he's seeing, but
and that's what I'm saying. He's definitely got to take another step this year. Last year, I think he was kind of like, and this is just me assuming. I think he was just kind of nervous because I feel like in the back of his mind he kept thinking like, "Is this my job? Is this not?" You know what I mean? So like, I feel like when that starts to creep into your mind, it kind of just rattles you, and I feel like that was kind of the whole season. He was kind of dealing with that, in my opinion, just from watching, but. I think he's got to take a step up. They've made some moves. They could easily win the division. It just how far they can make it just depends on the play of Jalen Hurts, in my opinion.
my girlfriend's a Giants fan, but you're in a division with the Giants, the Commanders. Those are again two teams that I think you can probably beat up on.
Yeah, that should be 4 wins right there. To be honest, you know what
So
I mean?
it's like, and then you can maybe trade a game with the Cowboys. That's 5 wins.
Yeah, that's
You're
5
already
wins.
halfway to 10. You're already
Yeah.
halfway to the playoffs.
And
basically.
that's all you really need.
And
at
you're
that
in a
point.
weak conference.
Yeah, so you
technically,
can easily win the wild card if need be. So I definitely see them as a playoff team. With the signing of AJ Brown as well, that guy's a run after catch monster. If he stays healthy, at least. So that's my dark horse. That and the Raiders.
I will say though, the Commanders defense. Nathan drafted him in our fantasy league over the Rams
On
defense.
paper, dude?
He was so. Remember, he was so
Yeah.
in on the Commanders
So
defense
in.
last year.
Yes.
He drafted them over the Rams, like the Steelers. Like he was all in, and they were they were not good.
Well, it's
So-
crazy too because on paper, dude, they literally have
They
a
look
disgusting
so-
defense.
Good.
So I don't know if it was a scheme thing. I don't know if they were just I can't spell Washington.
Just look up like depth chart. Like their defense on paper just looks so good, but yet somehow, some way, it just didn't work last year.
Well, isn't this the team with 4 first-round draft picks on the D line? Chase Young, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat.
Yeah, like
That's 4 first-round picks,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
and they
their
had no
defense-
pressure.
Their defense was not good.
Yeah. So they need to figure it out because they do have a good defense. But I mean, they could be a decent
Could
team.
just be learning pains, you know,
Mm-hmm.
growing pains, I guess. Like, but I will say they could be a dark horse team. Like, it just depends. If Carson Wentz somehow, some way rediscovers himself, he goes back to being potentially the MVP Carson. Like
Taylor Heineke over Carson Wentz.
Scary Terry
Don't at
could be
me.
better. Like
Taylor Heineke over Carson Wentz. Don't at me.
Logan Thomas was pretty good last year. Even their running back, where's the running back?
Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson. Like again, I think they could be a good team, but I'm not a big fan of Carson Wentz.
I'm
in
not
my honest
either.
opinion. So with that being said, I think he'll hold them back.
Not only that,
But
he's making like 28 million this year. Not worth, but
I
carry
really
on.
could see them. I really could see their defense being like one of those like kind of weird ones where like it like carries them almost. You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree. If they
But
figure it out this year.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they figure it out. They can be a good defense, but at the end of the day, I still think they'll get walked over by Philadelphia. Philadelphia is way too talented. You know what
Yeah, they should get walked over twice by Philadelphia.
I mean?
But
Like I said,
division games.
The Giants had a good draft too, but I don't see them being good right now either. They're not rebuilding stage, so.
I agree.
But all right, well, that's our dark horses. That's our winners. That's our losers. Want to talk about fantasy a little bit, or?
Yeah, we can run a couple fantasy picks or anything. What you got on fantasy? I'm the fantasy guru, so you got any questions, Nick? I'll answer them for you. You know what I mean? Just fire them off. You know, at the end of the day, just fire them.
All right, well, I'm just gonna look at your screen right now. Go to Baltimore. You can just sort it by protein.
I'm blind. Yeah, thank you. That's Atlanta.
So Baltimore. Rashad Bateman. See,
That's
you're
your guy.
thinking about it.
I already know.
I drafted him last year. I think this year he could be. He's either a sleeper or maybe not. I'm not too sure how people are viewing him. I'm not sure does it tell you like what his projection is overall?
They're saying he's projected 197 points. But
It doesn't tell you like what his rank is, does it?
No, but what we can do here is we can go to wide receiver.
Oh, position rank 70. There you go.
Where'd you see that?
You click on his name.
Oh, okay.
Wait, does that mean click on Cooper?
Wait, was that last year or was that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that was last year.
I think that was last year. Yeah. Hold on. Well, I'll go here
This
and
is
we'll see
kinda
where
weird.
they have him ranked.
But he shouldn't be ranked too high. But as I was saying, I just think he could be a really good wide receiver. You can pick him up.
Really gonna make me have to scroll all the way down this.
That's all I'm saying. This is kind of whatever. It doesn't matter, but
We'll be better prepared next time. Carry on.
I didn't know you couldn't just see the rankings like that. That's kind of ESPN needs to do
34th. 34th.
But yeah, so
that's kind of low, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. He's a starting wide receiver. I mean, even Drake London above him. That's another sleeper in my opinion. Even the one below him. These are three sleepers right here that you could potentially hit on it.
If Juju shows up and isn't making TikToks, could be a good one too.
Pairing him up with a better quarterback. Like he played with Ben Roethlisberger when he was basically at his lowest. I don't even know like who else even played quarterback. Did Mason Rudolph play with him maybe at some point? I think so. So it's like those are just three players right there in a row that I think you could, if you have them on the board, you should draft them. I mean, even Michael Thomas there was a kind of.
Yeah, I think. I would say after like now, fourth round, these guys, yeah. And even if you have to, even if there's nobody good on the board and you have to sneak up to the third, maybe. But I'd say
because Drake London, if you think about it, what's his name got suspended? He cost me fantasy last year.
Calvin Ridley, yeah.
Yeah.
All they got's Kyle Pitts.
That's what I'm saying. Kyle Pitts and Drake London, they could easily be the duo at wide receiver, tight end. So.
Yeah.
I think those three guys right there in a row. Those are my. I was gonna say these are my sleeper picks, but they're already like right here in a row.
These were actually your picks.
Yeah, I really like Drake London. I like Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
I really like Juju. I think those three guys could potentially be like really like a good number one player for fantasy.
I do really like the Bateman pick because I think a lot of people are gonna sleep on him because they're gonna forget about Baltimore wide receivers because I feel like that's what happens with Lamar at quarterback.
Because he's playing with and Mark Andrews, who is the number one tight end.
He's gonna take
all the
some
focus will
pressure
be on
off.
him, so he's gonna have good looks this year.
Yep. And Lamar can throw the ball, dude. I mean, as much hate as people give on him.
I hate that he's people still call him a running back. He's an MVP winning quarterback.
It blows my mind, man. I'm such a fan of him, and he's so exciting to watch.
I don't understand how you can be a running back quarterback when you win MVP.
Have they not seen him throw the ball?
Makes no sense.
Like it almost makes me think they haven't watched the game. You know how many nukes this man's thrown to Marquise Brown on the sideline, fucking streak route? You know what I mean? Like, the guy
The
can
only thing I would say
huck the
bad
ball.
about him is that he had that poop game. That's it.
Which one?
He had remember the cramps when he had to go to the bathroom and you.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that we gotta
Yeah.
figure that out, Lamar.
That
Figure
was
it
a
out,
poop
brother.
game, I think. That was a poop game.
But no, I mean, I've had Lamar in fantasy my last like 3 years, dude.
You traded for him actually, didn't you?
Yeah.
No. You did you
I
trade him or did you?
No, I finessed. I
No, you
finessed in
traded
our
him.
league. I traded him away.
No, you traded him away last
Yeah.
year. You traded him to Nathan.
But he was dealing with injuries and shit, and he was.
And then you finessed me.
Yeah.
I gave you Justin Herbert.
Bro, I'm in a 3-way trade. I traded away like Lamar and
I forget what it was, but you traded away Lamar for
Russell Wilson. And then I traded Russell Wilson for Justin Herbert.
You traded for Russell Wilson and did you trade for Metcalf too? Oh no, I had Metcalf.
I traded for somebody to sweeten the deal.
No, you did trade for Metcalf, I think.
Maybe.
No, maybe. No, I don't know.
I just know I made a 3-way trade and it ended up working out.
You gave me Russell Wilson and I gave you. Grant you, it didn't really work out for any of us, but I gave you Justin Herbert and Mike Williams, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what it was, so I could have the duo.
And then I had Russell Wilson and then I had DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
But DK Metcalf was good.
But I low-key, it didn't work out, but I low-key fleeced Nathan. Because he ended up with Lamar, who didn't really do well after I traded him.
I don't even think Lamar even played.
And he ended up with D-Hop, who didn't play after I traded him.
But the worst part is I traded you Mike Williams, who was like, I think at the time he was like the number 1, number 3.
And he didn't do shit, bro.
He didn't do anything
pooped
for
the
the
bed.
rest of the year.
He pulled a Lamar cramp on me. Yeah, no, that didn't really work out. But hey, you gotta try it. That's what fantasy's all about, trying stuff. The cool thing about fantasy is you can do a bunch of leagues at a time.
Kind of wild to me that Tyler Lockett's down here too. He's been a pretty underrated player.
He's such a boomer bust guy though, and with no Russell Wilson.
That is true, but I mean, what can you do? He's still a good player.
No, I mean I agree, but I do like your Bateman pick.
I mean, holy shit, Devontae Smith is right there too.
Yeah, they got a lot of dudes kind of lower here, but
who? I mean, you even got AJ Brown at what 15 wide receiver? Like,
yeah.
How do you have DJ Moore over AJ Brown?
I think it's because Eagles. They look at Eagles as a running team. They look at Eagles as a running team, and yeah. I don't know.
But even then, like DJ Moore's playing with terrible quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know. That's questionable.
Unless Baker pulls it back to his old self.
I'm a little surprised that Waddle's at 13. I feel like he should be a little higher.
I really cannot wait for this season to start because I can't wait to watch my Dolphins.
Oh, no, I agree.
Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, like it should be just absolute bomb after bomb. Like you know how I play Madden sometimes? I play like streaks only, Hail Mary every play. Like, that's what I want to see.
We love that.
Just let the guys outrun the corners. Like, what can you do?
I love it.
I mean, Breece Hall right there. That's the guy we always drafted. All right.
I think since you touched on the wide receivers a little bit as your sleepers, you got any more sleepers or anything?
The running back, that's Delvin Cook's brother, James Cook.
Oh, that guy? Yeah, okay. See, I was about to touch on a couple of them. I think a couple of them are rookies, or I guess they're all rookies. I guess my sleepers are definitely going to be Breece Hall. I don't think the Jets are going to be the most productive offense, but if he gets a lot of touches, which he was a workhorse in college, I think he could be a good sleeper pick in a late round draft or maybe even mid draft. Another one, Travis Etienne. I know it's Jacksonville.
I was just say real quick, I feel like we probably have like pretty similar sleepers because we drafted a lot of these guys together.
Yeah, and we draft the same a lot too. We always
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like we have like the same mentality.
Yeah. Another one, Travis Etienne Jr. tore his ACL, or not his ACL, his Achilles last year. Didn't even get to play his rookie year. So something to keep an eye on. I mean, if you can throw a late round draft pick or a mid round draft pick at him, and there's not somebody else that you're comfortable taking ahead of him, fuck it, take a chance. Because James Robinson
dealing with injuries too.
Yeah, he tore his Achilles at the end of the year, so I don't even know if he'll be back this year. He might, but it'll be like midway.
I think
through
he
the
is
season.
actually, but
Yeah.
No, I think he actually is. I think he's in training camp.
He's
Wasn't he?
back already?
I think so. I can Google it, but if you keep talking, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's back.
Definitely look at him. If James Robinson back, I don't know then because the whole I hate dealing with split backfields. But another one to keep in mind. He's a little lower down. There he is. This guy right here. Rashad Penny deals with injuries left and right. I don't think he's good. I think he had 4 or 5 good games last year against terrible defenses at the end of the season. I can easily see Kenneth Walker III taking his job. This guy's a beast. Loved watching him at Michigan State. I've heard rumors now that Kenneth Walker is taking reps at the number 1 spot because Penny's hurt, and I heard Pete Carroll say that he would be fine with him being a 3-down back. You know what I mean? So something to keep an eye on. Like Nick said as well, James Cook, another good one. I've heard good things out of camp from him. The Bills seem excited about him, and they really don't have a number 1 running back. I mean, they got Devin Singletary, which he hasn't really done much. And I think the Bills are trying to get a run game going as well, so something to keep an eye on there. Michael Carter we touched on. I know another Jets running back, but he did pretty well. I feel like if you draft Breece Hall, maybe draft him, just in case Breece Hall gets hurt.
I was just going to say, for James Robinson, it says that they don't expect him back for week 1.
Okay.
But he has been practicing.
Interesting. I didn't expect him back this early, but hey, fuck it.
Like it says here, he's working in 7-on-7 and taking first team reps, so he is practicing a little bit.
Gotcha.
But they don't want to rush him back.
And then I think I got 2 more. Second to last one is Raheem Mostert. The guy's been so injury prone the last 2 seasons, but if he's healthy, man, that guy is so quick and can just get breakaway speed and score an 80-yard touchdown in a half a second. And Dolphins beefed up their O-line a bit, so might be something to look at if you can draft him. People are going to avoid him as well, so you might be able to throw a super late draft pick on him because everybody's like, oh, he's injured all the time. I mean, me personally, I may not draft him because drafted him the last 2 seasons and he's burned me, but I do like this guy. And then my last one, I've been hearing good things about. I was talking to Nick about this earlier. This is another team that has a really bad run game. Not going to score a whole lot of points. But if he does get the carries, I mean, fantasy's all about opportunity. Dameon Pierce, I'm hearing good things in Houston about him. But
He's probably so far down there.
He's so far, bro. Gotta be. He's literally behind backups, my dude. Because, I mean, he's essentially the backup right now,
Just search him up. Just search him up. Because you're probably not going to find him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, while you're searching him up, I was going to say, I'll throw out Irv Smith Jr. as my tight end.
I like that.
I think he'll be able to get some good opportunities this year. They got Justin Jefferson. They got Adam Thielen. They got Dalvin Cook. But, yeah, I mean, he's their only tight end, I think, so he could be a good pickup. And then another one was just going to be David Njoku for the Browns.
Don't know who's throwing him the ball, but yeah.
I don't know who's going to be throwing the ball, but he should, again, get opportunities. The only other wide receiver that they have is Amari Cooper. They got rid of Jarvis Landry this year, so who knows, you know what I mean?
No, I
again, like you said,
actually.
Fantasy's all about opportunities, so we'll get some definite opportunities.
Yeah, here's Dameon Pierce. I've been hearing good things about him. Don't know a whole lot about him, to be honest, because I haven't been trying to keep up with the Texans because they've hurt my heart, but...
Is that ranked 51? That's 51 for the Texans, I think, isn't it?
It's either 51 for the Texans or 51 for running backs.
I think it's for the Texans. I think it's for the Texans. No, it's for the running backs. I think it's for the Texans. Or actually, maybe... No, that would be for the Texans.
51. No, it's not 51 because...
it'd be 51 for the Texans then.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's all I really got
so they
for
even
sleepers.
Have him like super low on the Texans.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he'll probably go undrafted.
That's like a super duper sleeper.
Yeah. He'll probably go undrafted, but I mean, if you could store him on your bench, fuck it. Take a chance. Don't play him a couple weeks, see what happens. Maybe he gets some points. I don't know.
I actually have another one right here for tight ends. They have him at rank 25, Robert Tonyan Jr.
Touchdown machine. No Devontae
If you
either.
remember last year, I think it was, yes.
2 years ago.
Or sorry, yes, 2 years ago. 2020, he had 586 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns.
It's a lot of touchdowns for a tight end.
He was hurt last year, but without Devontae Adams, like you said, Robert could really be a sleeper. They have him ranked 25 for tight ends, like I said. So, like we always are in agreement. There's only like 4 tight ends that are worth drafting that are like that you want, or not worth drafting, but that you want.
Yeah, and if you don't get them, good luck.
You're basically scrambling to try and find someone. But
yeah,
I can definitely see a few that you could take a chance on. Like, for example, right now, like I'd say you want Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts, or Dylan Waller.
Yep.
Even George Kittle. After that,
it's kind of a toss-up.
It's a toss-up. Like, you can go Dallas Goedert, you can go Mike Gesicki for the Dolphins, but there's definitely some that you could take. For like I said, you could take David Njoku. He can be a boom or bust tight end. You could draft Robert Tonyan. Again, that's another boom or bust player. If you're really comfortable with taking chances, then I really believe those tight ends right there could be guys that you could throw in the hat and say, forget it, you know? Even Cameron Brate for the Buccaneers. Rob Gronkowski retired.
No Rob.
So
Brady loves his tight ends.
Again, like, you have no idea. Like, if you're basically in the hole, like, I need a tight end, like, these are some guys that you can just take a chance on.
Don't forget Mike Gesicki. That's a solid pick. Granted, there's a lot of mouths to feed on that offense now, but he'll get his touches.
I mean, when Tua's putting up 5K yards, who's getting 1K?
Sheesh!
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Well, I'm kidding.
I see you. Is that a prediction? Bold take?
I think he'll put up like 4K.
I like that.
He's been on pace for 4K yards, even with the injuries and the terrible roster. So, if he can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing. He's got to stay healthy.
Another one, CJ Uzomah, Bengals.
Actually, now that I think about it,
he's on
my
the Jets
favorite quarterback was gonna be Tua too. Is that he can again? He's got an offense around him.
Yeah.
I don't know where they have him ranked. I gotta probably scroll all the way down, but he honestly is my like
17th.
sleeper for MVP. Like, he could be a really good quarterback.
I like it.
Like, they projected him. ESPN has him at 3.7K yards, 25 TDs, 12 interceptions. Not bad, but I can see him getting a little bit more. I mean, last year, for example, he didn't even play all his games. This is how many games he played. I'd probably go to his complete stats, but he probably played, like, 13 games? Yeah, 13 games. He had 2.6K yards, 16 TDs, 10 interceptions. Not bad with a 90.1 rating, so if he can play those extra 3 games this year, I don't see how he can't hit 4K yards with the amount of talent he has. You know what I mean?
Like it. I agree. Dogs are going crazy.
I was going to say another one for quarterbacks. I mean, I'm not his biggest supporter, but Trey Lance. If he's
got the starting job.
He's got the job. They do have some players. I'm just not sure the type of quarterback he is. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say one thing. I'm a firm believer. I'm sure a lot of people that play fantasy know this. Nick, you probably agree. Running quarterbacks are definitely the ones to pick, and he's a mobile one. So I think you have to take that into account at some point. Because
don't forget, Tua had 3 rushing TDs too. So
yeah, so I mean that's why Lamar does so well. I mean, yeah, I know the joke. He's a running back. I don't think that at all, but he does run. I mean, it's in the offense. They're built around that. He runs the ball. So running quarterbacks definitely, in my opinion, take a step above like a Brady or something like that. So if you know a lot about Trey Lance and have faith in his ability of running the ball as well as passing it, is definitely a good pick.
If you want like a rookie quarterback, like I don't know, there's all type of leagues out there that you have to basically go bottom of the barrel. But I mean, Desmond Ritter honestly isn't a bad shout. If you want like a quarterback that you think could start at some point in the season, you know what I mean? Like I think he's gonna probably
Yeah,
start at
no,
some
I
point.
agree.
Like I
You
don't
don't
really
think Marcus
see Marcus
Mariota's going to make
Mariota is
it
gonna
the whole
hold on to
time?
the job. I don't think so.
I think at some point they're building for the future, so they have to get Desmond Ritter in there at some point. You know what I mean? They drafted him.
Malik Willis, he had a fucking rocket of a throw. I don't know if you saw
Hey,
that one,
I did. I, Tannehill might not have a job, man.
but that was an absolute fucking rocket.
I'd be feeling
Like
in the hot seat if I was Ryan
he
Tannehill.
is at rank 43, just above Jordan Love, but he honestly could start this year.
It's a possibility.
Like he had an absolute cannon throw, and it looked good. I'll tell you that, it looked good.
I'll tell you that, brother.
Other than that, I'm not really like, I don't think I have any more sleepers. Really.
That's all I got for fantasy, brother.
I guess you could say maybe the Commanders' defense, like we talked about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they're rated.
Or any
they're
AFC West.
They're actually rated
defense.
9, so I guess they're not really rated well, but or they are rated well, so they're number 9. So it's not really a sleeper per se, but I mean I like their defense. I'm not sure if they're gonna perform. Miami's at 13, just outside the top 10. Their defense killed it last year. They were ranked 4. So, shout out to Dolphins.
Shout out to Dolphins. We love the Dolphins.
They got the Rams at 17. They were ranked 13 last year. That's kind of not a bad one. I think their defense is pretty good still. They got Aaron Donald. That's all you need, you know?
I'm a big firm believer in Steelers defense.
Whoa, they got... Okay. Massive sleeper. They got the Broncos at 19.
I was just thinking about this, Nick, though. The only downfall is I mean, you got to think about it. There's what, 6 games a year they're going against Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr.
Oh, okay, let's see.
Everybody plays each other twice, so one team plays their division 6 times.
Wait, I want to... Yeah, I get what you're saying. I want to look at the stats, though. Like, can I not go back to see like what they did each week?
Yeah, you click show more. Click on their name and go to show more.
Yeah, I did.
I'm here.
Wait. Oh, wait, yeah, you're here. Okay. Alright, my bad. So, against the Chargers, I had -1 point. Against the Raiders, I had 9 points.
6 against KC. 15 against the Chargers at one point. -2 against Vegas.
I get what you're saying, but at 6 games, I get it, but that defense is still so good that...
No. I think...
For the rest of the games
if I'm picking one out of that division, definitely the defense. Alright, definitely the Broncos. If I'm picking one defense out of the division, definitely the Broncos. But I think the rest of them might be tough. Even though they added all those pieces, still might be tough going against all those other quarterbacks.
But hey, if you need a defense, and depending on how many people are in your league, like...
Nah, I like it, yeah. Definitely a solid pick.
They were 10th last year, even with the players that they were playing against, so... Maybe they dropped to like 13th, but that's still pretty good.
I like it.
But... Yeah, I don't have anything else to add unless you have anything.
No, I'm good. I will say to wrap the episode up, I think we should do our MVP prediction so we can come back to it at the end of the year and see how close we were.
You want to do MVPs already?
Yeah. Hey, when else do you do it?
I say we'll do it. I'll say we'll save it for next quarterback rankings. Like
quarterback rankings with the... Okay, I like that. We'll group
actually,
it with that.
No. We'll save it to the last episode before the off season, because then we're gonna take a break.
Oh,
so
before that,
predictions, go bold.
I like that.
Because next episode, so like we forgot to mention this too, but every Monday, we're gonna do this podcast live every Monday. So be sure to check it out on Craig's YouTube or Craig's Twitch, sorry, and then it will be on YouTube. We did make a YouTube, the Blue 82 podcast YouTube.
The links are all over our pages too, so.
Yeah, the link is in Craig's About Me section. I think is it a command in your chat too?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow Craig on Twitch. We're gonna do this live every Monday, like I said. Next episode, I guess we'll decide it now. I don't know if you want to do quarterbacks next episode then.
We'll do team rankings.
Okay, we'll do team rankings next Monday, and then that will be episode 2.
And then we'll do quarterback rankings.
And then episode 3 will be quarterback rankings. The week after that, we're taking Monday off. But then the season will start, and then we'll come back with episode 4 the following Monday, which will be Monday Night Football. We'll come back, recap everything that happened on Sunday, and then make our predictions for Monday Night Football. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and the podcast will be live tomorrow probably,
On YouTube.
depending on how long it takes for me to upload and all that.
Yeah. So it looks like right now on the schedule we're trying for doing it live on Mondays, uploading on YouTube on Tuesdays, Wednesdays maybe. Just depends on our schedule. But with that being said, once we do these 3 episodes with rankings and the one we're doing now and stuff, we're pretty much gonna have like a pretty similar setup of a show throughout the season. It's just gonna be like recaps and injuries and fantasies and just any big news that happens, any crazy upsets. We'll just sit there and talk about that. But that's pretty much the podcast.
Yeah, it's just right now we're in the off season, so not very much to talk about.
Not much to talk about. We just talked for an hour and 45 minutes.
I mean, it's just like there's no action, so it's like we can't really like.
I hear you.
I can't say like, oh, this guy looks good, this guy looks good, this guy sucks, whatever. Like,
no, I agree.
we basically have to wait till the season starts. So, can't wait for football. I'm excited.
So excited! I think about it every day.
But yeah, I'm done. I'm ready to finish this here.
Yeah, I will say last thing before I close out. Anybody listening, we appreciate y'all. We are not by any means professionals. We're just 2 dudes hanging out, vibing, talking about football because we love football, and we sit here and party chats while we're gaming and talk about football all day long. So we figured, why not turn it into a podcast? So here we are. We appreciate y'all. Anybody that stops by at some point or whatever, we're here.
If you like, comment, subscribe, say anything, like, appreciate it. If you tell me I suck, I don't know anything.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Like...
Yeah, we love it. But you got anything else, Nick?
Just want to do like a casual vibe. That's all this is.
I like it.
Not trying to be Colin Cowherd or Skip Bayless or anything. Just want to have fun.
Love it. I love it. All right. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And we will see y'all next week.
Next Monday.
Peace.